Hi BYA, my name is Abby Bermudez, and Pastor Josh asked me to share my cousin Rebekah's heart testimony with you guys today. I couldn't be there in person. I'm here visiting some family in Tennessee. Please excuse my voice, I'm a little bit sick. About over a year ago, my family went through a really great tragedy. We lost my aunt who lived in New Mexico with my 3 younger cousins named Savannah, Rebekah, and Michael Cole. And when they came up here in March, due to the situation that they were in, they were immediately placed into care with my Aunt Kat and Uncle Chris. The first step was taking them to the hospital to get a health check. I do remember that Savannah and Michael home came back, but not Rebekah. They had to keep her at the hospital because of her heart. When Rebekah was born, her heart was in really bad condition, not properly treated. She was malnourished and was not getting the proper medicine to keep her heart healthy. And when Rebekah got here last year, her heart was really suffering. She had to stay at the hospital for a couple days so they could see what condition her heart was in and later released her. She was scheduled to come back a couple of days later to get a heart catheter to observe what exactly the condition her heart was in. During that procedure, her blood pressure began to drop. They discovered that her heart was not strong enough to come home, so she was admitted to the ICU for some medicine to help her heart strengthen, as well as for observation over the next few days. Rebekah had symptoms of heart failure during this time. She would throw up her food in the morning, and she couldn't keep any food down. She also had really bad blood circulation throughout her body, and all of her fingers and her toes were blue and purple because she had a lack of blood. She was also on oxygen. The nurse at this time told my aunt and my mom how she didn't know that Rebekah was alive. While she was looking through her records and how she really wasn't taken care of, the doctor had said this, and the nurse didn't realize how serious it was until she was admitted for her heart failure. Without the medicine she was on at the time, she would have died. It was only God that she was alive, and that she came up here and survived everything that she went through previously. We always knew that she would have to get a heart transplant, but we didn't know when. And at that time, we were told that she would need one as soon as possible. On April 22nd of last year, she was placed on the heart transplant list. I looked up how long it usually takes for a heart to be available for a transplant, and the average amount of time is about 6 months. But because of God, a week later, after she was placed on the list, we got the call that there was a heart that was available for her. April 30th, her heart transplant surgery occurred. It was all day, and I remember how anxious I was that day because the surgery took about 7 to 8 hours. After that surgery was completed, the surgeon came back and told my aunt and my mom that all of her hands and her feet were finally pink and all of her blood circulation was back. Even her eyes changed color. He also told us how he had never seen a more perfect match for a transplant. God had provided a perfect match for her. Rebekah was doing well, and she was almost moved out of the ICU, but unfortunately the next day they found that her body was having cellular and antibody rejection and they needed to correct it. They intubated her so her heart didn't have to work as hard for her little body, and they called my aunt and my mom to tell her that while they were doing this, her heart might stop. After this warning, they found that her heart indeed did stop, and they had to take her right into surgery to get her heart to pump again. After her heart was pumping again, she was still asleep and she didn't wake up for a couple of days. They put her on a system called ECMO, which is life support. Her brain activity was being monitored, and her organs were being monitored to make sure there was no damage done after her heart had stopped. Each day, there was continuous good reports on how she was doing. Her brain waves were good and her organs were functioning well. She was still on a breathing tube because of all the fluid that had gotten in her lungs. And if you followed my mom on Facebook, you would see during that time she had all of these updates for Rebekah every day. On June 6th, her breathing tube was taken out, and on June 11th, she moved from the ICU to a regular cardiac room.
Say, I'm going to 2B. Say, I'm out of here.
Are you blinking your eyes at me, girl?
Say bye. Keep saying it. Wait, yep, wave like a princess. Say bye-bye. Rebekah, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Wave like a princess. Good job. Oh, yeah. There you go. She's gonna be sleeping when I go.
Yep.
She was finally able to eat again. Her first meal was Chick-fil-A. About a week after that, my family was told that she would be able to go home in about a month, and she continued to get wires withdrawn from her and also all of the ports that she had. June 14th, she was taken off of her oxygen. And on June 20th, they told my aunt that she would be able to come home a week later.
What are you doing? Look at Auntie. Look at me, smile. Look at Auntie. Just look.
On July 6th, 2021, she finally was able to come home, a month after her breathing tube came out.
Woo! Do it again. Say, I'm so excited. Tell me, where are we going?
Home.
After she came home, they still needed to have a lot of checkups to make sure all of her antibody count was good and also to perform heart caths to make sure everything was functioning well. And around October or November, she had a biopsy to check her heart and they found 0 rejection. Her body was finding balance for her new heart very quickly, and it was all because of God. I didn't know this until recently, but usually transplant patients go through rejection within a year of getting their transplants. Rebekah's happened quickly, and I remember during that Sunday when I found out why she had to go through this, why she had to go through another obstacle. But now I know that God was protecting her because it all happened while she was surrounded with doctors and medical experts, so she was safe and her heart was being watched. His hand has been on her life since she was a baby, and he continues to show his faithfulness each day. If you know Rebekah or have gotten the chance to talk to her, you know she is the sassiest, sweetest, and joyous little girl that knows her Jesus saved her. She is now walking, running, going to school, and eating normally, and is living a great, full life, which was given to her by God. She is truly a miracle.
In every season, from where I'm standing, I see the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. I see your promises in fulfillment.
My family and I would like to ask for prayer for her heart because a heart transplant usually lasts 10 to 15 years, but we know that with God, anything is possible. And also for her future heart caths, that all her reports would come back good and her body would continue to get stronger.